Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 51 of Rumtails podcast. This week, we have Martin Yellen. Now, Martin Yellen is co-host of the very popular, not as popular as our podcast, I'd say, Eddie, but it's...
I think that's a lie, but we'll gloss over that.
They only get one out a fortnight these days, you know.
They're aging. They're aging. We're young, we're fresh. We can't get enough of it.
But yeah, he's a co-host of Marathon Talk, which some of you might have heard of, and he's also the founder of the charity Stormbreak. But first...
And co-author of the book Running in the Midpack.
That is true. I was going to mention that later, but...
I wanted to get it all in. And just before we started the interview, when we did start talking to him, we were both like a little bit in awe, weren't we? Because we've listened to his voice for years and years and years. And then we actually got to talk and listen to the voice, which is very therapeutic, isn't it?
Normally, I only see him on the London Marathon, the kind of inspirational stuff and the training talks that he does, the live London Marathon stuff. But first, we'll save Martin for later. You're back in France. How are you doing, Eddie?
Oh, mon Dieu, c'était une epic voyage. So, yeah, we went back. When I last spoke to you, was my mum and dad's and I left. We had to come back to France. We didn't have long enough. It was epic. So we left mum and dad's on Friday. We drove along the south coast of England and we changed our train actually, and we went back into France for Friday night, which we didn't really want to. We wanted to have a last takeaway in the UK on Friday night, but we decided to get across, and this is we stayed at this Holiday Inn in Calais, and the kids who'd sat in the car for like 9 hours to get there, and there was a swimming pool and a gym, and we treated ourselves, and we bought 2 rooms.
Oh.
Well, when there's 5 of you, it's tricky. You can get like family rooms for 4 of you. So what we'd done on the way over was we just bought 1 family room and we hid Evie as we went in. But then I slept on the floor, on the carpet, basically, in the end. It was awful. So we treated ourselves to like this a second room so that we could all sleep. And the kids were like, this is the best holiday ever. Can we live here? Mum, we could live here because it's got a swimming pool for us, it's got a gym for you, we can just live in these rooms. And I was like, not sure I really want to live in the Holiday Inn. Should we go back to our lovely house in the Alps? And then the next day, we broke the land speed record. Normally takes us Calais to Morsey, Morsey to Calais, 10 hours with it's about 8 hours driving and a couple of stops. But Bryn was on a mission and we stopped for 20 minutes the whole day.
Wow.
And we went hard, and the kids just had to hold in their pee, and we got back in just over 9 hours. It was epic. My poor knees. Oh my God. And it's so boring.
Oh.
And I don't know if other people do this, but when Bryn drives, he can't talk. He literally, I call him Dave, and Dave just focuses on the road, and he doesn't talk, and he doesn't go around, he doesn't eat, he doesn't drink, he just drives. And I'm like, should we talk about something? And I get nothing.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, he's on complete autopilot. It's just not, at the end of the day, I'm like, I've had a whole day by myself. And the kids, because he can't then handle the kids. So I'm there going snack, activity, next music choice.
Tiring, isn't there, as a parent when you're trying to occupy the children in the car?
They're really, really good. They have a rucksack and they fill it with all sorts of crap. And that's that. They have activity books, and soft toys seem to be a huge part of that. I don't know what they were for. They're basically weapons, and lots of colouring. And then we treated them to a comic, which just basically is just £5 for loads of plastic that then gets...
Oh yeah, they're dreadful, aren't they?
It was worth it. Hadn't seen mum and dad for so long.
Yeah, it'd be lovely.
Wasn't ready to leave UK, hadn't really done anything.
It was a flying visit, wasn't it?
It was a flying visit, but we had to be back. And now we're back. The weather's crap. Oh, sorry, I've said crap twice already. That's my sort of day, isn't it? It's raining. It's what has happened to summer here. But anyway.
Yeah, it does seem to have turned a corner, doesn't it? A bit miserly over here, overcast. But hey ho, I think
sun will shine. Tell me, you've put first week of marathon training, though after our quick discussion earlier.
Yeah, well, I think it was a bit premature. We talked about it last week that I'd started marathon training, but because we recorded the time we recorded, I didn't actually do any of that training. So tonight is the first night.
going to keep saying that each week. It's because of the recording schedule. My heavy schedule. I haven't actually done any of the sessions yet.
But what I
haven't seen any of the sessions. I've just seen nice shots with Rex.
Easy runs with Rex. So yesterday, the first day of the session was just easy miles. But today, I wouldn't say your advice, actually. It was going to be the 5 times by 5 minutes with a minute recovery, which I think is not a lot. So I know. So I'm going to do 4 times 5 with 90 seconds recovery.
Yeah, even 2 minutes. I would almost. Do you have your heart rate monitor on?
I do, but the batteries are a bit wonky at the moment, so I need to replace them.
I quite like to go by heart rate on stuff like that, and I always know when my heart rate goes down to 135, I'm good to go again, especially when I'm getting back into it. And as the reps progress, it goes down slower, and so
it will be heart rate because where we are, the trees don't do a good job with the GPS, so be heart rate based. But yeah, we'll give it a go. I've pressed gang Neil in to come with me tonight, so
fast Neil.
Yeah, we're going to do that tonight. And what I did do my first strength session last night, and I've got sore abs today.
God, I did my first one this morning, and already my legs and my butt are killing me. And that was only 5 hours ago. Tomorrow, I haven't done any leg specific proper uphill strength work I didn't do any through the races. So like the last 5 weeks, as I was doing it, I was like, oh my God, this really hurt. I was meant to take a minute between sets, and I had to like extend the minute by walking around a little bit more. And now the DOMs. Yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to the upper body, because that's my weakest point anyway. So that's going to really hurt when I do my press ups. And I do like weighted press ups. I'm pretty rocky, old school. I have a rucksack full of weight, and I do my press ups with that. But yeah, I did a bit of mobility. So I was on the foam roller, stretching out my 48-year-old back and stuff like that, and doing some hip movements. So that was good. And I've back wearing the compression tights in bed for recovery.
Do you wear them in bed? Do you not get really hot?
No, it seems fine. And I also do the old brushing your teeth on one leg for a minute, and then
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, it's little things like
washing up on one leg too, or doing some calf raises because we don't have a dishwasher. And so I do all that sort of stuff, or waiting for kids, calf raises, wait for kids, calf raises.
Yeah, stretching out on the supermarket queues and stuff like that. And I was also marshalling at the Trail Outlaws Branches and Bays 10K, so that was good. And I managed to take some good pictures and some rubbish photographs. So
I saw the prizes. They looked lovely. Those
the big wooden
trophies.
Yeah, it was a nice day. Apart from it was a bit drizzly, which would have been great for the runners. Apart from the rocks down to the beach, goes through some deans and then on the beach. So it's quite a nice run. But yeah, apart from the descent onto the beach, it would have been very pleasant. And great day, course record. So that was great. Shall we have a look at some of this week's results and FKTs?
We've had some amazing women doing amazing things this week. And we had the breaking news of Anna, but we'll talk about her in a second. Nikki Spinks broke the 24-hour record for the most peaks climbed in 24 hours. She summited the same amount of peaks as Carol Morgan did in 2020, but just a little bit faster. She managed 65 peaks, finishing in Braithwaite in 23 hours and 45 minutes. Well done, Nikki. I'm sure there'll be a good film, no doubt, from Innovate coming out about that. But I know she's been working on that project for a while. So hopefully get her on the show soon to have a chat about that.
Well, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Scafell Pike Trail Marathon. This was also the GB Trials, the mountain uphill running competition, which was meant to be this year in Thailand in November, but they've already moved it to next year. And there's some sort of lots of chat about actually when this will happen. It was won in a screaming fast 3 hours, 32 minutes by Tom Adams in a new course record. And the female winner was Eleanor Davis in 4 hours, 8 minutes. I also love following Eleanor Davis on social media. If you don't follow her, she is a highly accomplished marathon runner. So it's really cool to see. I always think it's cool to see really fast marathon runners who can transfer that onto trail, because it's not easy. She's super cool. She's a doctor as well. She's really strong and she's very honest on Instagram. So if you don't follow her already, it's a good person to follow, and another person I'd like to get on the podcast.
And whoever takes the photographs for the Scafell Pike Trail Marathon is a much better photographer than me. So.
I think it was a Salomon. No, it wasn't a Salomon. There probably was a.
I'm blanking on the.
I've done a little bit of training, Gary.
I'm blanking. They do have their own photography page. I'm blanking on the name of the whoever he is, but yeah, they're very, very good photographs. Punk Panther Dale's Way Challenge, 36 hours to complete 82 miles. That's a pretty big day out. Greg Judge, 17 hours and 11 minutes. And Alice Kershaw, she was 8th overall. Apologies, Alice, I don't have your time, but you were first female and 8th overall.
She won't mind. She's happy. She's in the top 10 of all those guys.
Yeah. And Trail Outlaws, Branches and Bays, I mentioned earlier. Liam Taylor, 39.23, which is a new course record, and Kirsty Lowry, 49.54. It was a good day for Sunderland athletes. Sunderland Strollers and Sunderland Harriers took the wins there.
And just as we were preparing the podcast, Anna Troop was running in to finish the Pennine Way, setting a new fastest known time of 72 hours and 46 minutes, 52 seconds, TBC'd, to beat Sabrina Vijay's 2020 time of 74 hours, 28 minutes. And she also beats her own ladies record time of 80 hours and 28 minutes, which she did on the Summer Spine Race, which we spoke to her all about a couple of podcasts ago. So if you haven't listened to that, crack back into that. I mean, I know she had a battle. I think this was probably, even though it's only 7 hours quicker, 8 hours quicker than what she'd done before, she had a real battle with the sleep monsters, with sickness. But then she's done a huge amount as well. Wow. What determination and mental fortitude. And we all pray that, Anna, now you might take a little break. Now,
No chance.
No chance was it? I'm going to WhatsApp her later and she'll be going, so, well, anyway, I've entered, I've got some 200-mile thing next week. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll just walk it.
What's the course next?
What an inspiration, especially to us older ladies, that there's life in the old dog yet.
And she's lovely as well. What a great guest she was.
Couldn't she have something? Couldn't she just we'd be like, oh, you, well, good things happen to good people.
Yeah, definitely. Right, this week's interview now. This week we got Martin Yellin. Now, Martin Yellin was an elite level athlete, represented England on the roads and cross country. He also is the lead coach at Yellin Coaching, Marathon Talk co-host, author, running Midpack, and now founder of the charity Stormbreak. So over to our interview with Martin Yellin.
We are super stoked today to welcome Martin Yelling to Run to the Hills. I have listened to Martin through thick and thin, years and years of podcasting joy. His voice is like syrup to the ears, and now I get to meet him face to face. Hi, Martin. How are you? Where are you? And have you been for a run today, having listened to your podcast this morning? Maybe you haven't.
I have been running. It's good to be on the show, actually. It's lovely to meet you both. I have been running. I'm in Dorset, and I went running. How long did I do this morning? I did about 5 miles with Liz, my wife. We just ran down, we shuffled down to the beach near where we live. We shuffled along a bit and we shuffled home. We walked a bit too. In fact, Liz wanted to stop for coffee. She's like, should we stop for a coffee? And then walk for a bit. And we do that quite a lot on our runs, actually. Our runs are much more about connecting with each other and where we are and chatting and catching up than they are about what time either of us might run, which is a departure, certainly for Liz. Now she's really slow. It's nice that when she says, let's stop for a coffee. But she wanted to stop at a place which I would never stop at in a million years. So
is it Greg's?
Well, I wasn't going to name names. She said, why don't we just stop there? And I'm a bit, people call me a bit of a tree hugger. So it's a large corporate chain of coffee shops. And so I said, no, I'm not going to.
Not
so
going
she
in
walked
there.
home with a grump. Anyway, welcome to the show, everyone.
I get that running though. I've got 3 kids and we rarely get to run together. And when we do, it tends to be either a form of therapy because you go, you know what you did earlier? What? Like 3 days ago, it really annoyed me what you did around the fridge, the way you put a dishwasher. Or we just chat about nothing, or we like just get to chat because you never get to chat because there's always small children. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot less about.
Can I do that? You're like 5 meters ahead of your partner though when you run.
You know, look, particularly with Liz, that's been a lifetime of grief. So I'll let you into a little running secret. So my wife used to be a good standard marathon runner.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
When we used to, I'd say train together quite loosely because she would always run ahead of me, always. And so I used to do quite a lot of cycling. And for anybody who rides a bike, have you ever heard of the term half wheeling?
Or half step. I've heard the half step for runners, but not the same.
Yeah, so like half wheeling on the bike is like when you're riding next to someone and they always ride half a wheel ahead of you. It's like,
you catch them up and then they just go. And you're like, are we in this together? Or
that's what my wife has done for the last 28 years.
Classic.
Can you tell us a little bit, because you dip in and out of it on your podcast about your triathlon and duathlon career, and I am an ex-triathlete also. Can you tell me a little bit about that part of your career and how it sort of led you to where you are now?
I started off running, and so I went to the English schools as a kid, actually, a couple of times, largely because running was something I quite liked as a little person, little between the ages of sort of 10 and 18. I didn't really train, but I was lucky that I had chosen my parents well enough that I had a certain degree of ability, and that ability meant I could muck around and go to the local running club and go to the English schools a couple of times. And then that progressed to competing on the track and the roads at a reasonable level. I would say I was not, I was okay as a national standard in the probably early 90s. So I got a bronze medal in the 3As, came in the top 10 in the national. Wow. Which are things now that you think, I look back and I think, great. I enjoyed that phase. I ran 23:40 something for 5 miles. So I was okay. I kind of did a lot of the steeplechasing at the national championships and the 3As and things like that. I snapped an Achilles tendon, and that meant that it was a bit tricky running for a while. So I got on a bike, and I used to love bike racing. I did that before I met Liz. And so bike racing and moving into multisport seemed like something which was a natural thing to do. And so for a while I juggled multisport and running, mainly duathlon and running, and won the elite national champs a couple of times. Went to, maybe 7 world and European champs. I think I was ranked 5th in the world for a bit.
Wow.
Did some multisport as well, did some triathlon. I think might have been runner-up in the British Championships, middle distance once at elite level. Did Hawaii, which was fab. I think I did 1 year as a professional Ironman athlete, which was just brutal. Tried to keep up with, lots of people who were much better than me genetically. Just had some fun doing that, whilst Liz, my wife, was training at a really elite level, and I was also doing a PhD and a postdoc. So I had a good kind of blast out doing all that stuff, and I think that I learned a lot in that period of being a aspiring sort of elite performer. Yeah, I enjoyed those times.
More recently, obviously, you are now a co-author with friend of the show Angie Andrews. Congratulations on that. How's it been since the launch of the book?
It's been no different for me, to be fair. I'm lucky that I think I'm lucky that running has informed, me in so many ways. I'm nearly 50, 6 months off 50. And, running's been such a rich part of my life. From being a competitor, being being striving for seconds here and there, to being a coach.
Yeah.
I've coached loads of people at multisport and just running, and an author and a writer and a podcaster, you know, so you guys know how that is. And so doing a book seemed something which was a good idea at the time. Then we went into lockdown and like, I was like, oh no, I'm like one of those, I don't know if I can say this on your podcast, so you might have to edit it out. I'm one of those really annoying tossers that's written a book in lockdown. But it was...
Yeah, but from what Angie said, it was being formulated a lot before that. It happened, the deadline came in midst of lockdown.
Yeah, we were commissioned to write the book before lockdown. And the book for me was so it's published by Bloomsbury and it's called Running in the Midpack. And it was aimed at people who run, so not complete beginners, but not like, I'm not going to try and win, you know, maybe win this next race. Like I'm keen, I like to run, but it's not everything, you know? And those were the people that we said, well, that's a lot of people actually. Yeah. And that makes up a big proportion of most races. You know, like I know how to do my laces. I've followed some training plans. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to come away with a trophy. Right. Yeah. And then I wanted to write a book, which was not a guide to running. Yeah. Here's how to run up a hill. You know, here's how to, here's how to trail run. You know, I've spent quite a lot of time doing more guidey, coachy stuff. So I thought I'm going to try and write something which is really going to annoy some people. And I think it's done that.
Why do you say that?
I was going to ask you, actually, do you like stalk the Amazon reviews and stuff like that?
I don't read anything. So
no.
I never engage with that stuff. I think that's a result of 12 years of podcasting.
You can't please everybody.
You can't, because, well, I would say I got trolled for the first time last week, and I shouldn't have read the comments, but then I can't help myself.
Neither should you try and please everyone. You know, you shouldn't. Like, I want people to be curious about their running. I want people to ask difficult questions about their running, and sometimes it makes them feel uncomfortable. And people's response when they feel uncomfortable is to be all defensive. I'm going to quickly jump on the keyboard and give you a really bad review. Yeah. And it's like, well, I'm sorry if that thought process made you feel uncomfortable. There was a little bit of it. It was intentional. So, you know, we wanted to talk about things in the book that you might not always read about in books. So we started off in the second chapter talking about runner psychology. And it's very hard in a book also because things are there's a lot of detail. And you don't have that scope in a book, although you think you do. When you're trying to do a lot of content, you don't have that much scope to talk about things. So if we're talking about perfectionism or confidence or motivation or goal, you know, it's not like there could be an academic text on any of those things. Yeah. So we can only scrape the surface. And we thought we want to do enough provoking. I want to do enough provoking in this book that you're either going to read it and think, oh, that's me, I get it. Yeah. You know, and in doing so, you'll learn something about your running from engaging. You're going to read it and you're going to just hate it. In which case, it's just not for you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, don't read it, you know? I've been saying that about the podcast for years with Marathon Talk. If you don't like it, don't listen, it's fine. You know, and some people can get really, particularly in this day and age of being very focused on consumer individualism and you know, data and likes and kudos and feedback, and people become too easily consumed by digital landscape around them, and they forget small, meaningful things that can have a significant impact in their life. Yeah. So that's what we tried to do. Yeah, what we tried to do with the running book. I don't mind if you don't like it, because
we had the pleasure. We listened to it, didn't we? We had the audio.
Yeah, I loved it. I listened to you. I do a lot of skiing because I live in the Alps, so I do a lot of uphill skiing in the winter. And
She mentions that now and again, Martin.
I had like 3 days and I just listened to you for the whole 3 days. I loved it. You were my companion and everything you said, I was like, yes, I agree. Or I like the story. I thought it was really, and I would recommend it wholeheartedly to, as you said, if you can tie your laces, you've got a pair of trainers, there's going to be something in it. You will recognize yourself at some point in this book.
Well,
and that's maybe where a few people have recognized themselves and gone, oh.
What I really hope is I really hope, and this is where my coaching has changed, I really hope that people will read it and find some things about themselves that they recognize, but also that they perhaps don't like.
And I also, as a reflection as well, it reassured me that other people felt the way that I felt as too.
Yeah.
Often we don't talk about the way that us runners are feeling. And then it's like, well, we all feel like that.
And it's okay. So it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to have that emotion. It's okay to wrestle with it. It's all right to be uncertain about it. Yeah. Something that really grates me, and we see it a lot at the moment, is where people harp on about being the best version of yourself, right? And I'm someone who used to make that statement. I never make that statement now, because like betterment and personal growth and reflection and change is a vital part of the seasons you move through as a human being. It's really healthy, and runners are often not very good at moving through those seasons of self. So they label themselves as particular types of runners because of the way in which they run, the times that they have run, the time that they want to run, the places that they run, the people they run with. And actually, I think to really enjoy the richness of everything that running brings you, being really introspective on some of that sometimes can help you be a better, more successful and happier runner. And that's the thread of the book. Even if those conversations are brutally difficult to have with yourself sometimes, and some of them are. You know?
I think Tom Evans mentioned in our show this week that he might have a goal for a race, which is to win it, while somebody else might just want to complete it, and they might enjoy the race more than he did because he didn't get the outcome he wanted. So
yeah, I mean, it's different according to your own agenda, of course, but I believe that running should be, it's like anything, your relationship with running, like your relationship with anything you spend time with in your life, should be something that enriches you, nourishes you, helps you flourish and thrive in your life. Yeah. And running is, for me, has been that amazing friend. It's done all of those things. I've had to utilize it differently and learn how to use it differently. And that's a skill.
Just like a marriage.
Well, yes. In many ways it is, because you work. I hope we have to be really careful.
Yes, I was like, it's outside.
Looking to see where Liz is. Right,
we're clear.
If you don't nurture a relationship, whatever it is, and you don't care for it, and you don't give it time and respect and learn, and adapt and be agile, if you're stuck in your mindset and you're stuck in your thoughts and thinking, then the relationship dies. Yeah. And that's the same with your running. Oh, I've hit a plateau, I can't do this, that, and the other. Okay. I hate running. Okay. It shouldn't do that for you. Running has the capacity to nourish you, help you feel a huge sense of achievement and fulfillment and satisfaction, but you have to harness it. Otherwise, it's like this pack of wild, horses.
Hyenas.
You are out of control, being spun all over the park. And, so that's kind of, there we are. That was a bit philosophical for you.
Pete Martin. So after that, you ask Gary. I don't know if we want to ask that next one.
Oh, yeah, maybe that is the second book. I don't know. Do you think you got any energy for a second book?
No.
No.
I think I could probably be persuaded, but not at the moment.
Live on the glory of that one. Alongside writing a book, you've also been launching your charity Stormbreak. I'm an XP teacher. So there's something really close to my heart, and I had a good rummage through your webpage yesterday, and it has broken my heart. We've been very lucky in France in that the kids' life has continued. That was something Macron said. The kids' life has continued pretty normally, and their activities outside school, because they don't have sport in school in France, it's all extracurricular, has carried on. But in England, I've seen and my PE teacher friends who, for a year, kids have not had access to year and a half, isn't it, to sport and to physical activity. And it's also something I battled when I was a PE teacher, that the first thing that was taken off the curriculum, if it was a busy day or exam period, was the PE.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Stormbreak and your goals for your work there? Yeah,
so I think a lot of it's related to the conversation we've had so far, is that many people listening to this who run, they're out on the fells, they're out on the trails, they're in the mountains. It's like, why are you doing it? You're probably doing it because it makes you feel good and it helps you in some way. You enjoy it, you get a sense of the contribution that moving is giving you, right? And you know that it's good for your physical health, and you also know that it's good for your emotional and mental wellness. You know that probably because you've done it for a while. And we may, I'm not sure how long you guys have been runners for, but you often meet a new runner, right? And for them, it's like a revelation.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, I can't believe I've never found running before. I used to hate it, and now I love it, and it's just amazing. And you think, yeah, could have told you that. You thought all these things about running, but actually when you go and do it, your perceptions are really different, and you've grown to love it, and you can see how much it can contribute in your life. So the question is, why don't we do that with kids? What? We get focused on kids and we say to them, you need to be fitter, or you need to play in this way, right, with this real technical focus. Yeah. We don't position moving for young children. Stormbreak works with young children around their emotional wellness. We position it around their ability to do something. So at Stormbreak, we don't care about how well you do something. We care about how does the movement support your emotional wellness and support your mental health. And when you move, what does it allow you to do to help you recognize your emotions, how you're feeling? So for example, an aspiration of ours is, that was my tummy. I don't know if you heard that.
Oh no, this is terrible.
That was my stomach rumbling.
I could throw you a banana.
It was like one of our aspiration with the kids is to teach them that they can use movement to support how they're feeling now, and to use it as a strategy to support them throughout their entire life. So it links to the conversation we had around harnessing running. We should be teaching children to harness movement to support their emotional wellness, because we as movers know it does that. We've learned that. Yeah. Children don't. They don't know.
I think children do. They naturally move. I think it's almost educating the adult of the importance of stopping that movement at the minute they go to primary school, and the first thing they do is sit at a desk in a chair.
There's an element of that for sure. Or particularly, movement being seen as discipline, or movement just being seen as you need to go outside and let off steam, run around. All of Stormbreak's work is in primary schools or other settings where trusted adults work with children 11 and under. Yeah. What we try and do is teach those trusted adults ways to work with children through movement to support their wellness, emotional wellness. And the idea is, in doing so, we can teach those children to recognize how they're feeling, right? So that might be they can learn to name an emotion. That could be anger. Okay. I'm feeling angry right now. Okay, so let's look at relationship, as adults. How many times, talking of nurturing relationships in marriages, Like, isn't it an amazing skill to have in a healthy marriage or a healthy partnership, to say to someone how you're feeling, and for that person to then understand, acknowledge, and validate how you're feeling? You know, not to belittle you, not to judge you, not to humiliate you, but to recognize that feeling and accept that feeling. And so with kids with movement, that's what we do. We say, well, okay, let's recognize how you're feeling. All right, now what's next? So you're feeling angry. Okay, so what's a response to anger in some children? It might be that they throw something. Yeah. It might be that they shout. It might be that they run away and hide. It might be that they withdraw. You know, they spend all their time in their bedroom. It might be that they physically lash out. You know, so that expression of emotion is something that we have a response to. So we then think, well, what's that response? So for me, sometimes, and for you, that might be, I just need to go for a run before I murder you, right? So we think, I'm just going to go running. And we know how amazing running can be as a tool for helping us respond. So the next step is, what can we teach children to do to regulate? And so we say, well, let's recognize that emotion, let's respond, and let's be able to regulate.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we hope we're providing kids with a way to shape and support their emotional wellness, all through moving. And we figure that that has the potential to be a strategy to help kids, particularly now, but also, you know, as we exit, fingers crossed, you know, the pandemic, and they move through their life, they're able to say, remember that thing I did? It was called Stormbreak. Right now, I need a Stormbreak. What does a Stormbreak look to me? It looks like going for a run. Great. I'm putting my shoes on. Off I go.
You know, it's an absolute, just an indispensable life tool that you have the opportunity to teach young children. If people are interested in Stormbreak, either we have maybe some PE teachers listening, or people working in schools, or parents, what can they do to get involved, or perhaps even introduce the idea to their school?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. We have a really good free resource for all primary schools at stormbreak.org.uk, and you can create a school account, and you can watch over 100 videos of people doing Stormbreak, and our Stormbreak coaches leading those Stormbreaks. You can play it to your class, learn more about the language. There's animations and resources on the website. And we also have a professional development program for the school, a whole school approach that embeds Stormbreak into the life of the school. And the best way to find out about that is to email us at hello@stormbreak.org.uk. And I think the other thing finally is, if you want to support, like, we're not a big charity, we're a small charity with a big goal. And an important goal, and so we're always looking for people to be able to support the work that we do, and often brutally that's through resourcing. You know, so if you're sat there and you're the MD of a company, or you work in an organization, you think it's time for us to make some change, and Stormbreak sounds like something you would like to support, then again, hello@stormbreak.org.uk is the best contact.
You're your CEO of your company, aren't you, Gary? You could
drop Gary in it.
There's only two of us here, Eddie.
Yeah, you make some big decisions like that.
Yeah, every day, big, powerful decisions.
It's not been easy. I've never started a charity, so it's not something I've done. And I definitely don't. I'm no expert, but I'm giving it a whirl. Like, I think, when like, running does teach us a ton of stuff. And one of the things it's taught me is that, it's really important, the footprint that we leave. And I don't mean that around some wishy, like, tree huggy, like, I mean it as it is important, like, really value the relationships that you build, really value the people you run with, really value time with your kids, really value the imprint that you're going to leave, because you're here for such a short time.
Such a short time,
yeah. Before you know it, you'll be like, thanks very much. That's been quite a ride sliding out here. So
Gary soon. Yes, not long ago, Gary.
Yeah, it's important without being, again, too philosophical. I really feel it is vital.
Oh, I do. I think it's really important. You never know who's watching. Unwittingly, you might inspire somebody to do something positive. Yeah, it's really good. Sounds like a fantastic charity, Martin.
And here's the other thing, though, like I feel, Gary, is people get a bit carried away that it needs to be massive, and it doesn't. Like sometimes, so we do this thing at Stormbreak called, it's a game where we just give each other compliments. That's all it is.
Oh, let's play it.
And
I like your T-shirt, Martin.
Yeah, you could. You pay someone a compliment, right? But we do it in a game where we're running around, and you hand somebody a different coloured object, and when you give them this different coloured object, you pay them a compliment. But you're not allowed to pay them a compliment about like anything physical or about their appearance.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You have to pay them a compliment that causes you to think around your relationship with them and how it might feel. And so, like, I might say to you, guys, I really appreciate the fact that you've just listened to me. I've rabbited on a little bit, and you've just let me do that, and you've listened. So, like, thanks for letting me do that. And I'm complimenting you there on your podcasting listening skills. And then what the other person has to do is they have to, like, give you a compliment back. You don't have to do that now. But, the thing is, but you can if you want. The thing is, we then talk about what do we teach in that context of somebody receiving a compliment? How does it make you feel?
Sometimes it makes people feel awkward receiving a compliment.
Right. What do you do?
It did feel a bit awkward then, Gary. I was like, it's Martin yelling, being nice to us.
What do you do with that information? And so what do kids do with that information?
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes when we do this, the kids don't know what to do. And it can cause an emotional response in them, which is quite upsetting.
Yeah.
Because, do you know why? Because no one ever gives them a compliment. No one ever gives them a compliment. And it's the same sometimes with adults. So when we work with a group of adults, sometimes we have tears in the session.
Yeah. Because
they say, no one's ever said that about me. No one's ever said that. And it might be their work colleague.
Yeah.
And you think, and I think something's wrong with the world if we're not doing those things. So a little challenge to your listeners: your impact doesn't have to be, this colossal thing. Pay someone a compliment today. There you go. How about that?
There you go, Eddie. Instead of throwing me under a bus every week.
It might take me a few weeks. Think something about it.
That's super interesting, Martin. Yeah, great to hear about that. And good luck with the charity. What is next for you?
London Marathon.
London Marathon's all a bit bonkers, isn't it?
We've both got places.
Have you?
We're coming. Yeah. We're going. We're doing it.
Wow. You could have run for Stormbreak.
We will do. We'll go around giving everybody compliments.
Yeah. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, do that.
So I've got London Meet the Experts on Saturday, digitally this year.
What does that? I'm really curious. What does that involve? I see you on my Facebook quite regular with London Marathon Meet the Experts, and you're the training expert.
Yeah, I am the London Marathon coaching partner. Person. So I try and basically help people that have signed up for the London Marathon for the first time.
Yeah.
To have enough physical confidence and enough awareness of what they need to do on the day to get around. I've got I can help people run quicker if they want to, but the majority of people in this setting just they want to do the distance, they want to do the 26.2 miles, and they're worried about how to do that.
They want to enjoy it too. What a place to run, and you need to enjoy some of those miles at least.
Yeah, and if you do some training, it is more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because
you're listening to this, Gary.
Yeah.
A little bit of training.
More prepped, right? Isn't it? It's more ready. You can handle it. Like at the top end of some of the training that I do, some of the coaching that I do, I really like to place people in discomfort. And sometimes I purposefully do that in the coaching sessions just to see how they handle it. I don't necessarily do that with novices, but I'm sure many people listening to this are not novice runners. You know, they're perhaps a bit more experienced. And so, you know, one of the things I like to do is to really teach people how to tolerate discomfort. You have to spend some time there and be a little bit happy with it.
100%.
I'm a big fan of the pain cave. Gary less so, but he'll pop himself in and out of it. I probably put myself in it too much.
Yeah, too much vom conversation you get with Eddie.
It's quite nice to learn what you want to get out of that experience for a bit. And, you know, sometimes that's blood in your mouth, you know, like, and sometimes it's not.
No.
Yeah.
And I think the art of being if performance is your thing, the art of being a better runner is to know when you need that and know when you don't.
And sustainability of knowing when that session needs to be done and when it shouldn't be done. Because I always believe we've only got so many of those sessions in us each block.
Yeah. Unlike any other event or the marathon, when you nail it and you're on that level of being tired, but you're controlled and you can keep it going for 26.2, and especially in London, that last few miles along the embankment where it is carnage. And if you have done it right, it's just the best feeling. For me personally at the time, it was just the best feeling in the world. People who I never knew, people who I recognized were stretching their hamstrings, everything along the embankment. And I was just chugging along. It was great.
Yeah, you know, I think that somebody who has mastered their running on that day, what you're able to do is perform despite being surrounded by carnage, despite being in a place of carnage or chaos yourself. You are still able to perform, you know, and of course, seeing Liz perform at a couple of Olympic Games, you know, learning a lot of that mindset stuff, not in a bullish or an egotistical way. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in, you know, you can do this whatever level you're at. It's not, you need to be elite, because, you know, I work with lots of people who run 6-7 hour marathon runners, and for them, it is brutal. You know, it's so hard. Like being out on an ultra mountain race or something like that, you know, like putting yourself in a place of wise discomfort, like not silly discomfort. You know, where you're beating yourself with a stick unnecessarily, but where you're achieving a sense of like incredible ownership of your performance, and you're completely managing that run despite everything screaming, you know, and it's like what a magic place to be.
I love it.
Right, we've used up your time, Martin, but do you want to finish off, Gary, with our new
we got a new format. We're going to go to our requested by the
independent channel. Yeah, we got requested this.
Well, I was curious. I'm going rogue. I'm going off the list, Eddie. First question: spin on your kind of PB. What your time you do for a mile? You've got 6 months perfect training for a marathon. What do you reckon, Martin? I've seen your PB. It's not too bad.
So I'm an old boy now.
Age is not a factor.
I'm 48. It's no excuse. Come on.
I reckon my issue with it. So it's really important, because 6 months perfect training would be magic, you know. And for me, like, I wonder. So I reckon 6 months perfect training, 250, low 250s, maybe low 250s, maybe.
Have you still got marathon aspirations?
No, like nothing. Honestly, zero. I never really
need to rename your podcast.
I never really enjoyed running the marathon. I never really mastered running like a half marathon. I only did probably 1 or 2 half marathons that were really hard. I ran 66 minutes, 00 or 01, I think. And I think I never got that right. basically the further I went, the worse I got. And never spent a colossal amount of time focusing myself on what could I run.
Yeah.
So Liz's run 2:28. My wife's PB is much quicker than mine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon I'll take that 2:52, Gary.
It's all right. Very good. Right. 5 quickies. Here we go. Tea or coffee?
Coffee, don't drink tea. It's gruesome.
Bucket list guest for marathon talk.
That's a really good one because we've had 576 guests, something, maybe even a few more now, 580 guests. Possibly Steve Ovett.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially, I think Steve Ovett, because as a kid, I can remember trying to run, like I can remember watching Steve Ovett, and I used to try and run and flick my hand back because Steve Ovett did it. Right. And I also used to like the way
rivalry.
Yeah, not only the rivalry, but Steve Ovett was somebody who I was like, he works hard, you know, he does cross country, he's gutsy.
Yeah.
He's like a little bit anti-establishment with his relationships with the media. And then there was always Glory Boy Co, like milking it, like moving along, like loaded with privilege.
Yeah.
And I always used to think, like, I'm from a proper, like, working class, single parent family, you know, like graft is something that we did. You know, it wasn't easy, you know, and like, I think that was, you know, I always used to think, oh yeah, Steve Ovett. So I reckon probably Steve Ovett.
Do you think kids, like you said about the hand flick, kind of children these days do that with footballers? They try and kind of mimic their moves. Do they do that for athletics anymore? Kind of, is there anybody out there, especially that kind of?
Maybe because when Usain Bolt brought that, like, what was it?
Yeah. My kids.
Was it the finish or the Mobot? But you know, actually, when you're running, I don't think people have the same role models.
Charlie Spedding, he'd be good.
We've had him on the show, Charlie Spedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Couple of good books.
We've had him.
Cats or dogs?
There's probably some dead people that I was
They're
unable.
more tricky. They're quite tricky to interview there.
Yeah, maybe there'll be a way. Cats or dogs? Dogs.
You have a new dog, don't you?
I'm
relatively new.
I'm allergic to cats.
Okay.
Like cats and tea. Dogs. Yeah, I've got a new dog called Ted.
Hey.
Ted.
What kind of dog is Ted?
He's a Springer crossed with a poodle.
So much hair.
Well, he's like a big fluff ball, but none of it falls out, so we have to have him cut. Otherwise, he turns into like a Busby that, you know, the Queen's Guards wear. It's brilliant.
Favorite? This is the big one. Favorite mode of transport? Kind of embarrassed asking it.
Apart from my own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Definitely own 2 feet.
Not your bike.
Paddleboard.
Put me on the spot there.
It's deep. We warned you these were deep questions.
Probing.
Did you say they were like quick fire?
Yeah. Well, I could ask them quick. You could take as long as you want.
Dust around on each one. My own feet is my favourite mode of transport. You know, because aren't we lucky to be able to move around like that? It's So if I would choose to go anywhere, I'm like, yeah, let's run. I'll run there. I'd much rather have the time, like, to run, you know, across the Lake District or across the Alps. In fact, I'll let you get another mention in that you live in France, blah, blah, blah.
Don't take it personally, Eddie. Don't take it personally. You are a good person.
I want to, there's a load of alpine running that me and Liz want to do. I think it's like the Alp 5000 or something. There's this amazing network of routes. I can't remember the name of it specifically that Liz and I want to do. Like, as soon as we've done with our 3 kids, we're going to like just run all these amazing long distance trails.
Eddie will hire out a driveway for you. You can rock up in your camper van.
We're just going to disappear off the planet and just like become a couple of old running hobos.
That's my quickie 5. Eddie, what have you got? Anything else?
That's it. Thank you so much, Martin, for coming on the show when you are super, super busy.
Appreciate your time.
We will put all the links to Stormbreak and your book on the show notes. And good luck with all the London Marathon prep and with the podcast. And thank you again for coming on the show.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for the podcast.
Thanks very much, Martin. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Is that your call?
There you go.
Thanks, Martin. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much, Martin, for that. And we went quite deep into some topics, didn't we? We got quite off the road, but it was really kind. I know he's super busy to give us that time to chat. And if you haven't read or listened to Running in the Midpack yet, it's a great read or a good present for anybody into running. And take a look at the charity Stormbreak as well. And there's lots of ways to get involved, not only get involved with schools, but perhaps wearing their vest at races. They're always looking for ambassadors. Right, upcoming races. No races for Eddie. No races for Eddie.
No. When's your next race, actually?
Well, do you want to know? Should we go there? Should we go deep now before these races that are happening?
Go on then.
Well, I had, as I retired last week from running and decided that was it, I actually retired. I never wanted to run. I didn't run. I ran a few times in Wales just to get out. I ran once at Bryn, which is a rarity.
That's
once
great.
by myself. I felt awful. Oh my God, I felt horrible. I was like running. It was like just awful. So I just stopped and drank gin with my mum.
Yes.
I don't feel like running. I don't really want to. I just want to sit in the kitchen next to the Arga and drink gin, be an old lady.
Yep.
And so, I was like, that's it. I don't want to do races anymore. I don't want to run anymore. I just want to do normal stuff and be a normal person. And then I spent 12 hours in the car. I was like, oh my God, get me out of here. I need to go running. And then I had a very long chat with a coach, a bit of a breakdown. I'm sure everyone does this, bit of a mental breakdown. We talked through everything, the many errors that I made, what we can do, what we can learn, and what I want to do. Anyway, how I can approach things differently. My God, it was deep, but I haven't retired, everybody. I've come back and now I'm training for a massive race. So, I think like it's hard, isn't it? When you've done a lot, you are not really sure where you're going next. But it's really important to sort of let that journey come to you. You can't force it. No. And I was sort of looking at lots of races and I wasn't really sort of throwing myself wholeheartedly into anything that made my heart go little bit. I'm not sure I can do that. And since I've done the UTMB over the 3 days, it's really the one thing that I think I really want to do that race.
You'll go back to the well for that.
I just think it looks awful. So I want to be there. I want to experience it. But you have to get these 2 lots of 5 points. I've only got 1 lot, so I need to find another. So I've had a look at all the different 5-point races that are from now up till December. And I've been a bit... lots of the ones that are here are 100Ks with like 6,000 to 8,000 meters of climbing in October or November, which hard, really super hard anyway in the summer with the daylight, but you're going to be in a lot of darkness and the weather could be awful. So sort of struck those off my list. And then I've down to like 2 or 3. I'm not going to tell you yet. You wait to know which one I'm going to do, but I found one. And it's big and slightly scary, but doable. So I have gone back into my base training because I actually haven't done much training the last month because all I've done is raced, tapered, recovered, cried. Yeah. Repeat. So I'm going back into base training. I'm changing a few things. I'm refocusing. I'm looking at things that didn't work so well last time. I think I let a lot of things slip over the last couple of months and have tried to just blag my way through a few races as well, being so busy. And you can't, can you? I mean, you can if you're happy with not doing the best that you can be. But I think both you and me, Gary, we're not sure of going to start lines, not being in our best shape, or how to handle going to start lines.
I think that's it for me. Yeah.
Not being in the best shape. And I find it like, and I try, but I worry more about what other people will think than the actual result or how I felt. And even if I'm like, I had a great day, everything went well, I felt really good. And I want people to think you did really well. And if they didn't, I don't understand why I care so much about that. But maybe that's a runner thing. Maybe that is, though some people don't.
I don't know what it is for me. What the issue is with the motivation side of it. But I think, like we mentioned off air, that when I'm on the start line, then I expect so much out of myself. And whether I'm trying to be this version of myself that I used to be or whatever, I'm not too sure what it is exactly, but I'm definitely wrestling with the motivation to train. But then if I do a race and I'm not trained properly, then I'm not going to perform like I would hope to. And that is a big issue for me at the moment. So I'm going to tentatively progress forward and see.
I think just little steps, isn't it? It's just like, take it like a big ultra, just take it stage by stage. Okay. For you and for me now, we just have to get back into a bit of routine and back into a bit of training. Yeah. And the big goal at the end is the race, but almost not to think about that and just take it a couple of days. And now, we're older. We can turn up at the start line being the best version of ourselves of what there is that day. And we have to, I think as you get older as well, you do learn to accept that, but it's a huge wrestle. And I'm sure everybody feels like that it's always a wrestle of everything else that's going on in your life, work, family. It is very hard to focus down on one thing. And that is some really wise words that my coach and my husband said to me, was that if you want to do really well in some of these really big races, you have to turn up at the start line totally focused on that. Yeah. If you're not, you can't put yourself in that pain box. You won't do as well. And then you'll be annoyed at the end. So I think turning up at the start lines like that, or turning up at the start lines going, this is just a touching base race. This is just to see where I'm at. This is just to see my mates, and just setting ourselves different goals. And then learning to live with getting.
For me personally, I think I have to accept that it is going to be the best I can be on the day. I don't think I'm prepared to be. I'm just in this transition. I think once I get over it and I get used to my place where I am now, then I'll be okay with it. But this moment,
write yourself off though. But remember, I think as well, there's a lot of comparison. We just talked about Anna Troop doing an amazing 3 things in 2 months, and loads of people will be looking at that going, but I did Lakeland 100 or 50 and I'm not even back running again. And she did that, and we compare. Totally different bodies, situations. Think of the longevity, think of what might happen having, think of other things going on in your life. And that Bob Graham round and all that training, it was 2 years, 3 years.
Mentally, definitely. Yeah, mentally 3 years. Yeah.
3 years of your life. And anything that we'd lost, like if it was an Olympic athlete and you'd just done an Olympic cycle, they sometimes take like a year off. Yeah. They're done. So you could take off the rest of the year, and that would be, you might need that. I think we have to pay the, what do you say? Pay the piper, pay the pauper. Right, yeah. Pay the piper for these big things, and we try and fight it afterwards for many weeks, don't we? When we're like, but I want to get back. Why do I not feel like it? Why do I not?
But something will give. I say this quite often. You've only got so much capacity for stress, and it will give somewhere. You
did so well in that Bob Graham round, though. You were proud as punch by how the day went, how it went, and we talked a little bit about enjoying the weight of that medal around your neck and letting it sit there for a long time. There is no rush. So it might be that this marathon block, the motivation is the bit that you struggle with, and you might want to do a marathon, but you might go, well, the version of me is not going to be super fast, but I'm just going to get back into training, enjoy training with Neil and Justin and all the other guys, Rex, and I'll get marathon time, and that will be where I'm at there, and then reset again. And every little ultra training cycle, race, repeat is different, isn't it? And we feel different. And the more we do it, the more differently we feel. But it's never healthy to compare, and it's never healthy to keep looking back. No. Look what I did. Look what I did. Look what I did there.
And you can't force it.
Oh, you can't force it. Well, I am forcing it now because I've got to actually start running and doing a bit of. It's hard though, isn't it, to do the force back into it when you're stiff and you're like, oh no, I don't want to do that again. But you have to keep chipping away. Keep chipping away, Gaza. We love you. You'll be all right.
I'll tell you tonight after me 4 times 5 minutes. Eddie, it's all over.
You'll love it once you get that blood taste in your mouth again, and you're like onto the third one, which is always the hardest, isn't it? By the fourth one, you'll be like, I've missed this.
Cruising.
I've missed it. I love it again, Eddie. I love it again.
Well, we'll see. All right, we deviated, didn't we?
Oh my gosh, that was deep.
It's all about us there, right?
No, but I think it's a lot of, I know it's all about us, but I think it's a lot of feelings. So hopefully that lots of people feel the same way and 100%. Go to the same, retiring.
Yeah.
Retire.
It is, we're talking about us, but I'm pretty sure that lots of our listeners will be feeling the same emotions. So yeah, worth talking about. Almost 55 this weekend.
You've done it. You've done it. What sort of time did you do that in, Gary?
I'm going to lie. Make up a time. I'm going to lie. I can't remember at all.
I just wondered what the sort of like going time for that was.
I don't know. I ran really well there. When I did I don't even enter the hard mode stuff anymore because it's so hard to get in. So I don't even bother to.
Super popular, isn't it?
Yeah, really popular events. And it's such a great, if you are more of a runnable trail runner, then the Cleveland Way is a very good place to run, and the Harmos 55 is a lovely route. So good luck, everybody doing the 55.
We've got also the Shropshire Way Ultra. I chose 2 ultras this week. You always choose like 10Ks and random stuff like that. So Shropshire Way Ultra on Saturday, as well as at Harmos 55 down south. Hopefully the weather will be kind. Isn't there a heat wave meant to be coming to the UK?
I heard this, yeah. Yet to see it.
Right. Competition. Our competition is running as we chat over on Facebook. Competition closes on Tuesday, 24th of August. You can win 2 Chia Charge kit bags crammed full with a Run to the Hills podcast. They're really nice, this podcast. They're really soft. Do you wear yours?
Yeah, I do. It's good.
Love it. Some Chia Charge bars, any other goodies that Tim decides to throw in.
We'll twist his arm.
We'll twist his arm. All you have to do is pop a picture of you running on holiday in Facebook, and maybe also we like a little story to go with the picture. Yeah. It's big already. I've lost. I'm actually having to set aside time now to actually look through it all because I can't keep up to date. I love it. Well, I love the pictures, but I also love I shouldn't mention it, but there's one with the woman and she's made her husband come out running when he's like crying into her. I also love all the mums. I haven't seen a dad yet post one saying escaping the kids on holiday. There's a lot from mums going, oh my God, we've gone camping. I've gone for the longest run.
Yeah, dad's watching the kids for 2 hours or something.
You can hear it. I'll just keep running. I always do that. I go, I'll just go for half an hour.
Yeah. Where have you been?
I never get that.
This must be my favorite competition so far. I'm loving all of the pictures. It's very good. iTunes shout out. Please pop over to iTunes and leave a 5-star review. I'll be disappointed, actually, listeners. I checked again today and no new 5-star reviews. So head over
Pull
there.
your fingers out. Come on. Even a 1 star's fine. Does it make a difference? What stars? What happens?
We only want 5 stars, Eddie. I'll take a 4. No less than that.
4, too much twittering. 5.
5. It's like the scores on the doors on the takeaways in restaurants in England. If it's a 3, I'm not going in.
Oh no, because then it'll say something about the cleanliness.
Well, I ordered a takeaway once from a restaurant. I'm not going to say from a takeaway, and we ordered. It was coming, and then stupidly, as it was on its way or being cooked, I checked scores on the doors, and there was.
Is there such a thing called scores on the doors?
Yeah, so on the window, there's a little sticker, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the local authority have rated it on many varying factors, cleanliness and stuff like that. Anyway, this takeaway that I'd ordered didn't do too well on the scores on the doors. So it turned up and we ate it and crossed our fingers and everything was okay. But check the scores on the doors first.
Right. Scores on the doors of the podcast, please. Right. Good luck with getting back into your training.
Thanks, Eddie. And you.
Day that it comes, keep your chin up. It'll all work out. Pray for my glutes tomorrow. Got to do 3 hours tomorrow on a maybe slightly hungover, tired tired head, but I'm going with a mate. So I'm going to tie one of those bungee cords.
Is she drinking too?
Oh no, she's doing Dragon's Back in a few weeks' time. So this is her last big run. So we're going out to talk tactics and focus, but she's super fit and I'm retired, so she can drag me around.
You're not retired. Sandbagging us, listeners.
Have a good week, Gary. Chat to you next week.
Yeah, Angie, you take care. Well, everybody, that was episode 51. Thanks for listening. My name's Gary Thwaite.
I'm Eddie Sutton.
And let's run to the hills.